Hi friends, welcome to Thinking Gap. Thinking Gapന്റെ മറ്റൊരു ക്ലാസ്സിലേക്ക് നിങ്ങളെവരെ ഞാൻ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഇന്നത്തെ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത് തെർമൽ പവർ പ്ലാന്റിൻ്റെ ഒരു ടൈപ്പായ സ്റ്റീം പവർ പ്ലാന്റിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ടാണ് ഇന്നത്തെ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്. അതിനു മുമ്പായിട്ടൊരു കാര്യം, KSൻ്റെ പ്രിലിംസിൻ്റെ റിസൾട്ട് വന്ന കാര്യം നിങ്ങളെല്ലാം അറിഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞു. അതിൽ തിങ്കിങ് ഗ്യാപ്പിൻ്റെ 2 സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് പ്രിലിംസ് ക്വാളിഫൈഡ് ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ക്വാളിഫൈഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളവർക്ക് ആദ്യമേ തന്നെ ആശംസ അറിയിക്കുന്നു. മെയിൻസ് എക്സാം വളരെ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ പഠിച്ച് 1ാം സ്ഥാനത്ത് എത്താനായിട്ട് ഞാൻ ആശംസ അറിയിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് അധികം സമയം കളയണ്ട, പോകാം ക്ലാസ്സിലേക്ക്. അപ്പോൾ തെർമൽ പവർ പ്ലാന്റിലെ ഒരു ടൈപ്പായ സ്റ്റീം പവർ പ്ലാന്റ്സിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ തെർമൽ പവർ പ്ലാന്റ്. In these power stations, steam is produced by burning some fossil fuel, for example, it's coal, and then used to run a steam turbine. Thus, a thermal power station may sometimes called as a steam power station. After the steam passes through the steam turbine, it is considered in a condenser and again fed back into the boiler to become steam. This is known as Rankine cycle. As majority of thermal power plants use coal as their primary fuel, we are focusing on the working of a coal-fired thermal plant. So this is the diagram. The coal is cleaned in a magnetic cleaner to filter out if any iron particles are present, which may cause wear and tear in the equipment. The coal from live storage is first crushed in small particles and then taken into pulverizer to make it in powdered form. Fine powdered coal undergoes complete combustion and thus pulverized coal improves efficiency of the boiler. The ash produced after the combustion of coal is taken out of the boiler furnace and then properly disposed. So next is air preheater. The primary air fan takes air from the atmosphere and it is then warmed in the air preheater. Preheated air is injected with the coal in the boiler. So next, the advantage of preheating the air is that it improves the coal combustion. അപ്പോൾ preheating combustionൻ്റെ ഒരു അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ് എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ it improves the coal combustion. Next is economizer. An economizer is essentially a feed water heater which heats the water before supplying to the boiler. Next is boiler. Boiler, the mixture of pulverized coal and air, usually it's preheated air, is taken into boiler and then burned in the combustion zone. The fuel is ignited and the heat energy is utilized to convert the water into steam at high temperature and pressure. Steel tubes run along the boiler walls in which water is converted in steam. The flue gases from the boiler makes their way through superheater, economizer, air preheater and finally get exhausted to the atmosphere from the chimney. Next is superheater. The superheater tubes are hanged at the hottest part of the boiler. The saturated steam produced in the boiler tubes is superheated to about 540 degrees Celsius in the superheater. അപ്പോൾ 540 degrees Celsiusലാണ് the boiler tube is superheated. The superheated high pressure steam is then fed to the steam turbine. Next one is steam turbine. High pressure superheated steam is fed to the steam turbine which causes turbine blades to rotate. Energy in the steam is converted into mechanical energy in the steam turbine which act as the prime mover. The pressure and temperature of the steam falls to a lower value and it expands in volume as it passes through the turbine. The expanded low pressure steam is exhausted in the condenser. And the next one is alternator. The steam turbine is coupled to an alternator. When the turbine rotates the alternator, electrical energy is generated. This generated electrical voltage is then stepped up with the help of a transformer and then transmitted where it is to be utilized. And the next one is condenser. The exhausted steam is condensed in the condenser by means of cold water circulation. Here the steam loses its pressure as well as temperature and it is converted back into water. Condensing is essential because compressing a fluid which is in gaseous state requires a huge amount of energy with respect to the energy required in compressing liquid. Thus, condensing increases efficiency of the cycle. And the next one is feed water pump. The condensed water is again fed to the boiler by a feed water pump. Some water may be lost during the cycle, which is suitably supplied from an external water source. Next is thermal efficiency. Thermal efficiency means the ratio of heat equivalent of mechanical energy transmitted to the turbine shaft to the heat of cold combustion is called as thermal efficiency. Thermal efficiency of modern thermal power station is about 30%. But thermal efficiency of modern thermal power station is about 30%. So, thermal efficiency equal to heat equivalent of mechanical energy transmitted to the turbine shaft, the whole divided by heat produced by cold combustion. Next is overall efficiency. Overall efficiency means the ratio of heat equivalent of electrical output to the heat of cold combustion is called as overall efficiency. The overall efficiency of a thermal plant is about 29%, slightly less than the thermal efficiency. So the overall efficiency is equal to heat equivalent of electrical output divided by heat produced by cold combustion. Overall efficiency equal to heat equivalent of electrical output divided by heat produced by cold combustion. Okay, next we are going to discussing about the advantages and disadvantages. Advantages. First advantage എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ less initial cost as compared to other generating station. First advantage എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ less initial cost as compared to other generating station. Second point, it requires less space as compared to hydroelectric power plant. അപ്പോൾ it requires less space as compared to hydroelectric power plant. Next one എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് the fuel. ആ fuel എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ coal. Coal is cheaper. The fuel that is coal is cheaper. Next advantage പറയുന്നത് the cost of generation is lesser than that of diesel power plant. The cost of generation is lesser than that of diesel power plant. And next is disadvantages. Disadvantages first one പറയുന്നത് it pollute the atmosphere due to the production of large amount of smoke. This is one of the causes of global warming. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിന്റെ disadvantage എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ it pollute the atmosphere due to the production of large amount of smoke. This is one of the causes of global warming. Next one എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് next disadvantage എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ the overall efficiency of a thermal power station is low ആയിരിക്കും. Performance is low ആയിരിക്കും. ഇത്രയാണ് അതിൻ്റെ ഡിസഡ്വാൻറ്റേജസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ഇന്നത്തെ ക്ലാസ് ഇവിടെ അവസാനിച്ചിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഇന്നത്തെ ക്ലാസ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് യൂസ്ഫുൾ ആയി എന്ന് കരുതുന്നു. അടുത്ത ക്ലാസ്സിൽ നമ്മൾ ഇതിൻ്റെ MCQമായി വരുന്നവരേക്കും ഗുഡ് ബൈ.